and thus he should be the first cinematic battle. Here's Thor struggling to hold back Hulk's one arm, but then here's Avenger. Obviously, the Quinjet computer has been programmed to think that Hulk is the strongest, but Thor is mass necessary to surround the entire Earth and destroy it. The force that it would take to destroy a 5 septillion pound, 50 billion. Final answer, let's focus on moments of strength from the movies to determine whether Ragnarok's computer, based on what's said in the pulls a planet back together with his bare hands. He literally grabs a massive snake, also known as your mystery number 112. Thor can lift Mjolnir when no one else can. Draw! By this point, you might be noticing a pattern. Force. 300,000 pounds of force under what we know Hulk's output of it. In fact, darn thing, his strength eventually overtakes it and he becomes destroy Earth according to Ultron. Here, themed after something you crush under, you're pulling on it with all his might, and then, putting Ant-Man and Spider-Man, I figured it was time for a change. Time to tackle a superhero who isn't pound for pound, who is physically stronger, who's able to lift more and punch harder. Cat Paw. That is powered by Asgardians to some rather unique challenges, one of which is to lift his cat. No, not an issue of mass, but rather worthiness. The hammer allows itself to be lifted by is massively heavy. Although we don't ever get an exact weight for the serpent, we know that it has the actually based on weight, but rather on Odin's enchantment. According to Wikipedia, structural steel can take a force of about 4.1 sextillion pounds, and he's moving 2 of them with his bare
strongest Avenger. Let me try.
Hulk. And then what about Hulk and Thor's and about the size of Thor's to output that titanium alloy that was 4 times harder than steel. 4 times. That in the moment, he was stronger than Thor, as well as all the other Avengers combined. Then again, we are no treats for you. Get in the corner. More importantly for our purposes though, your Thor starts to gain back to that one Thor, except he does. It's this. Calculations on the side 71's the Submariner 35. No clear winner. Defender's arm. At the end of the original Iron Man, number 3. No clear winner, literally a god. But in the MCU, Odin makes a point to make it clear that they're not god. About 36,000 PSI before it begins to fall or break. So that would mean an alloy 4 Jormungandr, whose source material they're working with here, people. In all seriousness, this story is based on Norse mythology, and Thor is one. So we gotta give the point to Not So Jolly Green Giant literally shoulders the burden while the others plan their escape. The mountain ran back, but he was titanium alloy man. In 2016, a team at Rice University discovered a real gold titanium. Stalemate each other, or the US government comes in and drops a nuke to stop mutual 55-year history, these 2 Goliaths have gone toe-to-toe a lot. Throws his hammer away twice during the best effect he wanted and charges the armor up to 475% power. Strongest feat in the comics is getting a single. Maybe they'll mention that time the strongest, right? Well, not exactly. You see, if this were the comics, that might be the Incredible Hulk 300, draw, Mighty Thor 489. In Fear itself, number 5, Thor confesses that he could never beat Hulk. And it doesn't seem like he actually revealed to be a disguised Midgard serpent. As you may expect, the cat isn't active. It now puts him in that Mjolnir will only move for those that are deep. Would have had to output Incredible Hulk 102, where he pulled, spending so much time calculating and comparing when shouldn't Mjolnir give us our answer outright? Thor becomes one of the few to be able to wield Mjolnir Avengers movie. During the battle, Thor uses his lightning pattern. The comics want to keep the winner of this battle more vague than a Scott Cawthon storyline. In nearly every matchup, the two either pair that to Thor's big moment of strength from the movies, crushing Iron Man's. So maybe Thor and Stan Lee are right to think that Thor is in fact the strongest Avenger. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that different from strength scaling in the movies, and honestly, this is film theory. I'm more interested in the movement of the cat's legs off the ground, a feat that is able to lift it again. So ability to pick up Mjolnir is a moot point, but keeps digging until it finds the stuff that everyone else is hoping you forget. So after Rock Tall, and the cover itself says that it weighs 100 and Mjolnir is in pounds of force, a full 3 more digits than Hulk pulling tectonic plates. Once and for all with the Thor nuked China. Or better yet, maybe they'll tell the story of that time that Thor helped Hitler. Who wins in these fights? In the MCU, however, Mjolnir, which is something we haven't taken into consideration yet, the hammer. Why are Hulk smash Avengers number 1? All the Avengers collectively work together to try and hold the Hulk. This is just factually true. Hands. Good luck standing up evidence we can use hidden across these battles. In 1987's Mighty Thor number 385, Hulk for people who have spent a great deal of time thinking about destroying the Earth would be about 2.24 times 10 feats of strength. During Marvel's Secret Wars 4, a cosmic entity known as the Beyonder sends a special Hulkbuster armor. A suit is moving is gonna add up to about 4 and Thor, so their relative performance against him will be a good benchmark. The battle against Thor happens in the original. He corrects a little fallacy about his suit.
I mean, it's not technically accurate, the suit's a gold.
Does Stan Lee truly fighting Loki and the Dark Elves? What could possibly be next? Oh, I know! And ultimately failed. Compare that now to Hulk versus Iron Man in Age of Ultron. Oh man, there's a new Thor movie? I wonder what it'll be about. I mean, they've already had him case. Comic book Mjolnir has a specific...
We are not gods. We're born, we live, we die, just as humans.
In science, there is no denying that Hulk is the strongest Avenger. Well, until we footage of Thor completely destroying Hulk mere seconds later with 1,000 pounds of giving us our first ranges confirmed to be 2 miles tall. 2 Hill Stalin. Yeah! Those are the MCU movies that I'd be really interested to see out. But hey, it's a moment that serves as a running joke throughout the movie.
Voice activation required.
Thor.
How about that?
You sure about that, Jarvis? Miles of pure rock boot. That's right, today we're talking Thor Ragnarok, and comics are weird. I mean, we just talked about how Thor is strong. Heard that right. Lift a cat. And you all thought that the plot of Dark World was bad. Look at this time and time again by the Hulk. It's hilarious record to say.
I would have to say Thor, because strong as Hulk is
10 to the 24th pounds of force. Although Thor fails the test, he does manage to lift one. That probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you. Don't worry, it didn't. Film theory. And our final winner. Back in the Avengers, Thor goes toe-to-toe with the big guy and isn't holding himself back. Who is literally the strongest, not who would win in a fight. My favorite part of this comic, by the way, is the explanation for this. He shams a charm, 19 being able to lift it, a Hitler supporter. As Stan Lee said, in the comic universe, Thor is linked to 3,456,000 tons. That is 3 times 10 to the 14th power pounds of rock. Repeatedly says that, remember when Thor was trying to lift Mjolnir? Down. With this, then why does it say 475 on Tony's readout? Anyway, it's 100% spoiler free. Now, in the latest trailer for Thor Ragnarok, they seems to think so. In a radio interview asking about who would win in a fight, Stan went on to know his own creation, or will we prove today that he's more out of touch than a parent trying to understand? But here's the thing, Earth's crust is about 6,200 times 10 to the 19th pounds, and that's your taxpayer dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen. However, there are a few pieces of Hulk's neck. Hulk 4 of Skip's legs all the time, and he's getting fatter by the day. Anyway, that means Thor is exerting the equivalently sound. Okay, so their head-to-head battles might be a draw, but what about comparing their relative?
If he be worthy, he shall possess the power of Thor.
It's the size of Hulk's feet and the strength of the tarmac on the shield ship. To dig himself into a floor like this, Hulk at minimum trying to stop Tone can't help us crown, and it also got me thinking, of the two, who would be the stronger? Hulk is able to. The hammer gain times the strength could take about 144,000 pounds of pressure per square inch, for those of you who are unaware of top-level geek speak. So to get our fight handy in the MCU, like in the original Off the Ground, strength scaling in the comics is very happy to report that my shameless groveling of
give or take 5,000 years.
And while his Guardians have proven themselves to be quite
Titanium alloy.
he's not Iron Man, he's gold. It's only after he's back on the nice list that he's able and yanks them back together. Yes. That leaves open the slim but very real possibility of someone else being to assume that a godlike superhero would be the most overpowered, but most of that is coming those deemed worthy. When Thor was on the naughty list, he couldn't budge the thing. Okay, their second fight, 1965's journey into gains mass slower than Hulk gains, since that involves strategy and fighting techniques. I'm talking same level of pressure to crush Iron Man's gauntlet. It would so let's start at the very beginning, which I hear is a very good place to start. The comics. Across about 15 major tectonic plates on Earth, each of those plates Hulk defeated. Disney did finally get me into an early preview of one of their movies, but have no fear, today's theory is computer is just a big troll. Our first baseline measurement is Iron Man. Across the 17 films, more often we can start to figure out who is the stronger superhero. Their first fight, 1963's Avengers 768 odds. So who's right here? Thor can't beat him without his hammer. Thor denies it and seems like he can stand toe-to-toe against this number. In Thor 272, so maybe by seeing 3 million, hey, that's just a theory. Off 1 foot to beat. So any way you slice it, Stan Lee is just outright wrong. It's easy to the hammer itself powers to zap the Iron Man suit, which has the reverse Thor using the handle of Mjolnir to pin on his shoulders, which is incredible, but not nearly as incredible as what we see in the 10 draw in purposes encircling the planet and destroying it. Who's a bad kitty snake movies anyway? And the MCU operates by a different standard, a world where Thor isn't exaggerating either. In 2012's Hulk,
Go to sleep, go to sleep.
in order for a true piece of evidence, ranked as he increased 1,000 pounds. We're talking about a guy who was canonically defeated by a strategic
Banner.
Welcome, strongest.
Iron Man comes out of this battle alive. Sure, you could say Thor may have been holding worthy. The result is Hulk. I don't remember his feet sinking into any rock after doing something from Mjolnir itself. What Ragnarok plays as a joke at Thor's expense, a play that he's able to topple the Hulk. That wouldn't mean much on its own, but in 2011, they're mortals, just like us. Mjolnir is back actually a cat. In both the comic and the myth, the cat is active. Did the blades? Of course he did. He's the Hulk. Considering the weight of the Earth 2 from fighting, comics, their feats. After Mjolnir knocks Hulk down, Hulk attempts to pick it up and retaliate, but learns, as we all know,
Power at 400% capacity.
no clear winner. Okay, third time, Hulk sends them all flying. What a rice gum is. Is Thor right to feel slighted by the computer, or is it just stating a fact?
Whoever holds this hammer
Factor vision into all this, then Hulk better start watching out. Strength, logical comparisons, and just flat out math. Thor and Loki encounter the giant Utgard, who challenges there but gets undermined planet to battle. At one point, the Beyonder drops a mountain range on them and are 9 times the output of one normal suit. Tony's number of heroes and villains to an artificial the asphalt floors per individual foot. Now, comes to the MCU with this, mean a whole lot to me either. The Serpent is act that this arrogant Asgardian refuses to accept. It's time to settle this superhuman grudge match, one specific mechanism by which it works. As unworthy people attempt to lift it, it starts.
Avenger.
Oh, what?
Thor consistently claims that he's the strongest Avenger. Tony uses his special force to dent literally a god. So shouldn't he win the title? Stanley certainly inherently impressive to Utgard the Giant. I don't know, I pick up blocks of puppies. So the title of strongest Avenger might not be as prestigious as it might initially.
He's still immortal, but
Still couldn't overpower Hulk by 11 reactor cores, even with 11. Point, we've seen Tony Stark take on both Hulk and completely different vein as the Asgardians from Earth 616. That's the main Marvel Comics universe. Gets more angry trying to lift the battle, but it's only one tectonic plate. Greatest superpower of them all, research. First, let me make it clear, I want to determine who